Here we give some details of endocrine and exocrine glands, which are the main sources of enzymes and hormones in the body. What is gland? Gland is a collection of secretory cells. You may be knowing there are a variety of different kinds of cells in the body for different functions. The same way, there are certain cells which are secretory in nature. They produce some substances which may be helping the digestion or which may be helping the stimulation of a function that way. So such substances, the products produced by such secretory cells may be either called enzymes or hormones. Enzymes doing a different function, hormones doing different function. Now if you say digestive enzyme, amylase enzyme, that is to digest, that is break down the carbohydrates. Now if you say an insulin hormone secreted by the beta cells in the pancreatic region, they help in absorption of glucose through the membrane into a cell for the further metabolic activity. So that way every product from the secretory cells may do an appropriate function. Either it would be enzymatic function or hormonal function, which may be different. Now these secretory cells and the secretory products may be differentiated into two major types: endocrine glands and exocrine glands. Now what are exocrine glands? Now if I say an example, you can understand it very easily. Assume the digestive enzymes in the intestine region, carbohydrate digesting, protein digesting, protease enzyme, lipase enzymes, secreted from the intestinal wall in particular. They are poured into the space in the intestine where the carbohydrate, protein, lipid, the molecule, the substances, that is the food materials present. And these enzymes act on such food materials to break them into the nutrients. Like the smaller units of carbohydrate, smaller units of protein, smaller units of lipids, which would be easy to get absorbed into the blood. So now these enzymes are secreted directly into the space where the digestive function is going on. Can you understand this? Exo means outside. Crine, you can mean it like secrete. So the secretory, the glands, they secrete their content. They pour their content into the space that is outside where the function is going on. Now if you say the same type of the pancreatic amylase, pancreatic protease enzyme, which are all produced from some secretory cells in pancreatic region, and they come into the intestine through the ducts, pancreatic duct, which also will be helpful in digesting the food particles. So that way here the secretory products, or you may call them enzymes mainly, from the location of their production passing into the space where the particular function, digestive function, the breakdown function is going on. Now, in contrary to this, endocrine glands, they secrete the substance, mainly the hormones, which may be the examples of endocrine substances. Now the products of these glands are directly getting into the blood, not outside to the space like that of the substances from exocrine glands. Now here endo, in the sense you assume it like getting into the blood. Endo, not released outside. They are directly released, the substances. Particularly you mean it like hormones. They are produced in the cells and getting into the blood directly. And through the blood they get circulated all over the body and reach the places of their specific function. Now for example, you say insulin is secreted, the insulin hormone secreted secreted from the pancreatic cells, beta type pancreatic cells, because there are many secretory glandular cells in the pancreas. As we told already, there are produced carbohydrate digestive enzymes, protease enzymes that way. So in addition to that, there are the beta type cells which are responsible for producing insulin hormone. Now this hormone is not released through the duct like that of that enzymes, digestive enzymes. Now the hormones are released directly into the blood. Through the blood they get circulated, transported to different parts of body, and mainly its function is to encourage or stimulate or help the transmission of glucose, membrane transport that we can call, from the part of digestion into the cell for the further process of glucose. That's why the insulin is considered very important in carbohydrate digestion. That initiates the glucose metabolism. For the entry of glucose into the cell is very much depending on the action of insulin at the membrane transport system. So exocrine, there the enzymes directly released into the space, not into the blood, released into the space where the further process going on. But endocrine glands, they are directly released into blood, from the secretory gland to blood vessel, and through the blood only that would reach the different areas, parts of the body where they need to act. Now if you say examples of exocrine enzymes, as we already told, the pancreatic amylase, the carbohydrate enzyme, which may be responsible for breaking down the food carbohydrate into the nutritional glucose substances, the units of protein, what are they? Amino acids. Units of lipid, the fatty acids. So these enzymes break down the long or the complex form of carbohydrate, protein, lipids, all those into the simpler substances. What happens in the digestion with the enzymes at the exocrine region. Now even if you say the pepsin that acts on the protein at the stomach region, and then endocrine hormones in general. Even to understand this, you say most of the secretory products of exocrine type are enzymes, and the major examples of endocrine substances are hormones. Now the hormones secreted at different glands, Even physically they are said to be the endocrine glands. As we told already, they are secretory, their entry point is blood indirect from the gland. And now if you say pineal gland, melatonin, that secretes melatonin, the hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, such hormones from the pituitary gland, you say the head region just beneath the brain. Insulin, as we already told, the beta cells of pancreas, thyroxine from thyroid gland, adrenaline from adrenal gland, estrogen, progesterone from female reproductive organs, testosterone from the male reproductive organ, that way. So the exocrine, endocrine. The crine in the sense secrete. Exo means to the outside. Here endocrine means into the blood. So that's the major difference. Here majority of the enzymes may be from the exocrine sources. And majority of the hormones are released into the blood. So they are placed under endocrine substances. Now in addition to that, I want to tell you is here instead of intracellular, it's typed intercellular. Intracellular enzymes or coenzymes. Now in addition to the enzymes or hormones secreted in the gland region, from the gland, there are the enzymes which are produced inside the cell from the mitochondria which are present in a particular cell. What I mean by the word intracellular enzymes and coenzymes. In particular, you may be familiar with the words glucose metabolism, fatty acid metabolism, amino acid metabolism, that way. Oxidative phosphorylation, that is the what is meant for the ATP production inside the cell. So there the enzymes which are required for those activities, the metabolic activities occurring inside the cell, are governed by the enzymes produced by the mitochondrial DNA. The mitochondria that's present in the same cell, and such enzymes may be called intracellular enzymes. Here I should have typed intra, because intercellular means between the cells, between two cells, but here I want to mean it intracellular enzymes. I want you to make a note of it. Sorry for my carelessness. Now some of the examples I have given for those enzymes which are secreted within the cell, particularly mitochondrial, the DNA, RNA, which would be responsible for the requirement of a particular cell. Dehydrogenase, they are to remove hydrogen. Decarboxylase, they are to remove carbon dioxide from the substrate given for the in the cycle. So they which would be normally involved in the process of metabolism of glucose, metabolism of amino acids, fatty acids. And now this hydrogen released out of the substrate would be accepted by some enzymes, get along with those enzymes, intracellular enzymes called coenzymes. Now the NAD, you say nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, which is a coenzyme, functions along with that major enzyme, you say dehydrogenase. If you consider dehydrogenase is a major enzyme, the actual enzyme, and are really helpful in relieving out the hydrogen from the substrate, and the hydrogen is accepted by the NAD and it will become into NADH2 that goes into some other metabolic cycle. Anyway, here for an understanding you can assume. So these coenzymes, FAD, flavin adenine dinucleotide, and such those enzymes, coenzymes are produced at cellular level. So in addition to the exocrine enzymes, endocrine hormones, some of the enzymes are produced according to the need within a cell, and they may be called intracellular enzymes and coenzymes. So again I tell you to read this intercellular into intracellular. Sorry for my mistake here. And if you visit this page for the first time, please subscribe, share, even arrange for notification.